First of all, I just want to say it's an honor to me to be introducing my pals into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. I'm merely a fan that happened to catch them on an appearance of the Uncle Floyd show. Anybody remember that? Uncle Floyd. At a time when synth pop groups were all around, I witnessed a two-guitar, bass and drums rock and roll band that had obviously taken the time and effort to study the music that came before them, then to take it to a place that was true to its roots, but had a completely unique identity, with song titles borrowed from film classics such as Behind the Wall of Sleep, Blood and Roses, In a Lonely Place, and Strangers When We Meet. The songs were fresh, current, and danceable pop music. I'm not sure exactly how we became acquainted, but when we did, it was apparent that we shared a love for old records, guitars, music in general, and they were just cool guys. So many bands broke up before they ever played a note because they couldn't agree on how to split the merchandise royalties. These guys were in it for all the right reasons. I left New Jersey in the 80s, and I kind of lost contact with them as their star rose and their greatness was noticed by the masses. But in 2001, I met up with them back in New Jersey at the Count Basie Theater for an event for the families of 9/11 victims. That night, I asked Dennis to play drums. He played great as usual and brought along the group to share the bill. It was great to see them and see that they were doing well, still playing that rock and roll music. They have continued on after having lost their lead singer and major songwriter Pat DiNizio, a situation that would bring lesser bands to throw in the rock and roll towel. And now here they are being inducted into the Hall of Fame of their home state, a banner they have proudly waved all these years. Please welcome Jim Babjack, Dennis Dyken, Mike Maceros, and the late Pat DiNizio, the Smithereens, to the Hall of Fame.
Pat DiNizio, Dennis Dyken, Jim Babjack, Mike Maceros. 4 guys from New Jersey making electrifying rock and roll for the better part of 4 decades and counting. The Smithereens were born of friendships forged here in the Garden State. Dennis, Jimmy, and Mike grew up in Carteret. Pat hailed from Scotch Plains. When they came together as a band in 1980, they felt it was time for something new, but they were too respectful of their elders to completely shatter the mold. What came out of that tension was a sound that harkened back to the British invasion, but somehow felt groundbreaking in the mid-1980s, when their breakthrough hits Blood and Roses and Behind the Wall of Sleep lit up the alternative rock airwaves. Over the next several years, they went into heavy rotation on MTV and got booked on late-night TV, including Saturday Night Live. Meanwhile, rock radio continued to embrace, getting behind classics like A Girl Like You, Only a Memory, and Too Much Passion. Over the years, the Smithereens performed on stages around the world with fellow rock legends like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, The Pretenders, Lou Reed, and the Ramones. The Smithereens' Take No Prisoners sound, honed from years of paying their dues in clubs throughout the tri-state area, has resonated with fans worldwide over the course of 17 albums and thousands of live shows. With the 2017 passing of Pat DiNizio, the surviving members have decided to carry on the band's shared musical legacy. They continue to entertain fans all over the world, with guest singers carrying Pat's torch, while Dennis, Jimmy, and Mike hold down a groove deeper than the Blue Hole. These legendary musicians have one more tour stop tonight, here in the Hall of Fame of the great state of New Jersey, where it all started.
Please welcome the Smithereens.
Played it right. Thank you. I'm Jim from the Smithereens. And first, I don't know why they're letting me go first.
Alphabetical order, Tex.
Oh, alphabetical order. Okay. So, right here, we have Pat DiNizio's daughter, Liza. And I'm going to read her message. She says, "My father was immensely proud of his New Jersey roots and always spoke of this great and abiding love for the Garden State. This would have been perhaps the greatest honor of his life. Thanks to all that has made this happen." And now a message from Pat's mother, who's still alive. She said, "It's sad that my son, Pat DiNizio, passed away before he was able to receive this award, but his music lives on in the Smithereens. I know he would have been thrilled and honored to be inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Thank you." Thank you. So, this actually hasn't hit me yet. It's starting to right now. And first I want to congratulate all the inductees. So, there's that. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our family, friends, and fans. We just wouldn't be here. And I don't want to make a list of thank yous because I'd be here for an hour, because after 40 years being in this, it's impossible to list all the names and of all the people that helped us to get to this point. But if I answer your texts and emails, that means that you're on the list. So, but I do want to thank my parents and my sons who are here tonight, Max, Alex, Tom, and Lauren, my future daughter-in-law, and my late wife, Betty Ann, who passed away from pancreatic cancer. And I wish they would cure that thing already. My band members, and Robin Wilson and Marshall Crenshaw for helping us carry on the flame of the Smithereens. And last, before I let these guys talk, Cindy Sivak, who has put all this together for me and has helped me helped the band tremendously. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh. Let's hear it for the band. I just want to say again what Jimmy said. If it wasn't for our fans, we wouldn't be here, and we really appreciate them and love them with all our hearts. Thank you very much for everybody who stood with us for 40 years. Thank you. They said I have 30 seconds. This might take 35, so 35 seconds, so bear with me. When I think about growing up in New Jersey, it's a long road that brought us here. There's a lot of memories and feelings and people. And I was born in North Newark, Belleville area, where the Four Seasons come from, folks. And Four Seasons were a big influence on us. And I first lived on Van Winkle Avenue in Garfield, New Jersey. And that's where I was first immersed in the unconditional love of my grandparents, my mom and dad, John and Ann Dyken, my big brother. And then we moved to Carteret. And so many wonderful uncles, aunts, cousins, and my Aunt Jerry, who gave me my first 45s. And in Carteret on Charlotte Street, Maddie DeFilippis's mother gave me my first drumsticks. I'll never forget her for that. Thank you very much. And there were so many great characters in Carteret, like Mary Chobon and Pifty and Max Gruen and Gene Brown. All these people really influenced the way we behaved and thought. And in Carteret, Lincoln School, and I moved to Elm Street. Lincoln School, there was a great group of wonderful kids who were creative and fun-loving, and we all fed off each other. And that's where I met Mike in 1966, folks. We go back that long. Mike Mazzaris and I went to school together. And we had great teachers like Mr. Wiseman and Mrs. Fritz who taught us to think outside the box. And I want to say hi to my mentor, Bobby Zeiss, the great drummer from the Carteret band, the Crownsmen in the 60s. And then in high school, I met Jimmy, first day of high school. He had those color pictures of the Who plastered in his notebook. I said, I got to talk to this guy. That was the birth of the Smithereens, folks. Let's hear it. There's a lot of places that were holy to me in New Jersey, like Two Guys, where I bought a lot of my records, and S. Klein's in Woodbridge, where I saw my first time seeing a picture of the Beach Boys on the Fun, Fun, Fun picture sleeve. Like Jimmy said, we can go on for hours, but in 1978, the Aquarian is where we met Pat DiNizio through an ad in the Aquarian. A great publication that's helped so many musicians. I want to thank Jimmy's folks for letting us practice in their garage and laundry room, Mike's folks for showing us so much love. I want to thank a guy who's been with us for 25 years, John Ludd Kennedy. He's done the impossible for us time and time again, mixing front of house and being our tour manager. Paulie Yowza Smith, who has been with us since day one, helping us out on stage. And Steve Loebmeyer helps me out in the drums and everybody in the band. Thank you so much. Our manager, Len, thank you. Len Fico. I want to thank, Scott Muni, George Cavedo. Jimmy already said Marshall and Robin. And I guess, most of all, my favorite girl, she's always there for me, my wife, Donna. Thank you very much. Did I miss anybody? See ya at Charlie Blood's in Garfield.
It seems like we had a private club playing our own favorite music, and everybody joined it. Thank you for doing that. That's our fans. Carteret informed our sensibilities, our work, the way we worked at what we did, and we would not give up. Being from Scotch Plains, did the same thing for Pat, because we persevered for 5 years of record company rejection slips, and Pat would never quit. He wouldn't let us quit, and we wouldn't quit either. Thank you for your perseverance and leadership, Pat, and the great songs and friendship. Thank you to Denny and Jim for being such great friends all these years. I want to thank my dad and mom for sticking with me, even though I know you weren't too happy about it, me having those amplifiers in the basement. My beautiful wife, Cindy. My great daughter, Ronnie, who is 16 years old tonight. Happy birthday, Ron. Happy birthday, sweet 16. My little girl, Julia. Our producers were really important to us, and they helped us along the way. Ed Stasium and Don Dixon. We have to acknowledge Meg Griffin, the great DJ, who ran the Prisoners of Rock and Roll shows at the Bottom Line and believed in us way before anyone else did. The great club owner, Pat Kenny, and his assistant, Don Hill, at Kenny's Castaways. Johnny Dirt in Bloomfield, God bless you, Johnny. Bobby Albert at the Court Tavern in New Brunswick. Al Brown. And thanks to our crew. And once again, thank you to our fans for joining our private club. It's wonderful to have you with us. Thank you.